Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video, I'll be talking about why it's important to have a very high self-confidence and self-esteem. So I've noticed that I had very low self-confidence back in the days when I was a kid in Poland, and now compared to now, I see a huge difference in my confidence and my abilities and what I can accomplish in my life. It's just like day and night difference, right? And I think a lot of people would agree with that statement. Obviously, a lot of people would know that it's important, but I think not too many people realize how important it is, right? Like, for example, when I was growing up, my parents were shouting at me, let's say when I was like 6 years old or 8 years old, saying some things like, "Oh, you're dumbass," like you're being so stupid. Or I think it's very important to not talk like that to your kids, especially when they're growing up, because that's gonna build up some kind of like low self-esteem and self-confidence. Because if you keep shouting at your kid, like saying, "Hey, you're fucking stupid," why can't you just understand 2 plus 2 is 4, obviously, or like 2 times 2 is 4, obviously, like don't be a dumbass, so keep saying that, like, you're stupid, you're retarded, you're so stupid, you can't get this, like it's so obvious, like keep saying that to your child. It's very bad, so I've now, after a while, I was analyzing all of these things that, I mean, I don't blame, I have nothing to say to my parents. I love my parents. They did just their best, but I'm just saying, like, I'm sure they just were not really aware of this thing, and a lot of people are not really aware of it, and just like keep saying. Some of people that I hang out with, sometimes they just say some things like that to me as well, where they just sometimes unconsciously say like some, like, "Oh, you're so weak," or like some unconsciously, or like not even thinking about it, or "You're such a loser," or some shit like that, right? Like I think it registers to your brain, and you just kind of like start analyzing a lot of things like that, inputs like these, where you can have this overall, just like, where you put yourself in the situation of like social status. And there was a study done with primates, kind of like, they get rejected, so they're like male primates, and then they fight each other, and if they lose, they have like lower self-esteem, lower confidence, and lower testosterone. So those are very related to each other. So they kept fighting with each other, and then the one that won the fights, all of the fights, he became the alpha in the animal kingdom, and then all the other primates kind of like were beta, and then they were serving that alpha primate in that example, in this study, and then they studied their testosterone levels, and the alpha had the higher testosterone, just because of the social status that that primate had in that circle of, let's say, 10 primates. So, and also obviously it comes with the self-confidence as well. This alpha primate had a very high self-confidence because he overcame all these other primates, and he became the most respected primate in that circle. So yeah, I feel like it's very important. So also, a lot of people talk about how, especially people in sales, I think they are a little bit able to manage this problem. I think for me, I don't do that, so I don't really know how it is to get rejected a lot of the times. I'm sure like being on cold calling people all the time on the phone must be very stressful and taxing on your brain and your self-confidence, I would believe. But I guess there are some tactics that they can just kind of erase it from their brain, forget about like rejections, because I'm sure, let's say if you close only like 10% of your cold calls every day, let's say you call 100 people and you just maybe close 10 people out of, so you got rejected 90 times in a day, every day, you keep doing that every day. I would imagine that you could kind of get lower testosterone and maybe lower self-esteem. But I feel like the high performing, I think I've done some research about it, where high performing salespeople, they let's say they close 40%, 50% of the cold calls or sales. They had significantly higher testosterone as well, and obviously I would imagine they would have much more self-confidence as well. So I think that's why it's also important to like not get rejected by girls. You know, like if you're a young guy trying to talk to girls, I would like wouldn't suggest that. I don't usually do that, you know, but I think people around you, you have to be very careful about people surrounding you, like maybe lowering your self-esteem or self-confidence. Maybe they talk shit, too much shit. I mean, a little bit of constructive feedback is good, but like just, you know, out of anger, just some random toxic maybe toxic friends, they would just say random things that maybe would stick in your brain, and you have to be very careful who you surround yourself with. I already made a video about you're the average of 5 friends you hang out with the most, so you should watch that video as well. And I already made a video about testosterone and why it's important to have a high testosterone as well. So I made all of these videos, just kind of, it's a build-up. So now I can finally talk about why self-confidence is important, because now you have the puzzle pieces I've mentioned in the earlier videos. So yeah, for example, for me, I grew up in Poland, and I faced a little bit of racism, and I had a little bit lower self-esteem, self-confidence, just because I felt like I was weird. And then I remember when I went back to Mongolia for vacation for the first time. I think I was like 15, or yeah, maybe 16 the second time, and 18 the third time. All of these times when I went back to Mongolia for vacation, I've noticed like I actually am very like respected person in Mongolia, because you know, like in Mongolia people would respect someone who grew up in Europe at that time. So I was very like different from them. I was maybe like more I explored more things, I knew more things, maybe I spoke more languages. So at that time I've noticed a big difference. When I came back to Poland from vacation, I would have so much more self-confidence, and that helped me overcome the, you know, little bit of racism that I faced. And yeah, being a minority in America also taught me a lot about like just the confidence, and how it's important to you know, just think about other things, like how, like, okay, let's say if I talk to Americans, obviously that's their first language, right? The main language, but a lot of Americans obviously don't speak a lot of them don't speak multiple languages, and I speak 3 languages fluently, and also two other languages that kind of basic. I know the basics of it, so like kind of speak 5 languages. It gives me a lot of self-confidence as well, just knowing that I can speak more languages than most people. And yeah, just being an immigrant is also like you know, you have a little bit of an accent. For example, I do probably have some kind of mixed of Polish accent and maybe Mongolian accent, or some random accents that I have. And also like being an immigrant, having a lower income at starting point is much lower, and I don't really have a lot of support here. I came here by myself, so you know, the confidence I have to boost. I need to boost my confidence. I needed to. So I discovered that like how important it is, especially for immigrants. You know, like I remember when I came to America first, and I met this Mexican guy. We became friends later, and he was like taller than me, and he was a pretty good looking guy, and we went to the clubs or bars at that time, and I just like kind of unconsciously noticed that he was very like low, he had a very low self-esteem for some reason. And I feel like because he just grew up in America, he just didn't know that like in other countries he would have been amazing, you know. But like in America, he's considered a little bit like, as a Mexican, he's considered a little bit like, I don't know, like immigrant or whatever. Like, so he had a little bit lower self-esteem, self-confidence, and I've noticed that a big difference where I came from Europe, from Poland. When I came to America, I had so much higher self-esteem and confidence just because I hanged out with a lot of Europeans, and like hanging out with Americans didn't feel awkward at all because it was very similar, the culture and everything. Now, how we can overcome it? Well, you know, you can't be just wishing that you can have a high self-esteem or self-confidence, and just you can't be just they say fake it until you make it, or just you know, positive affirmations, or you know, build yourself, have a high self-esteem. You can't just do that without any real work. So I think it's important to actually do the work first so you can build the self-esteem. You can't just fake it. I don't think so. So what you have to do is you have to work on yourself, learn, improve. Let's say if you have some difficulties speaking English, obviously you need to work on your vocabulary maybe, or whatever you need to work on. Let's say if you need to put on some more muscles as a guy, you know, you would have to work out every day, take care of your diet. So you have to work a lot more than if you've worked hard. You can have a higher self-confidence. You can't really fake it. You can't really just for no reason, you haven't done anything and you're gonna be like, oh yes, fake confidence. You can't really do that. So, you know, just work hard, you know, have multiple jobs. It's important also to have good friends around you, have multiple jobs, so then you can kind of maybe have different environments, different friends. So, for example, going to school, it helps a lot to kind of have classmates maybe, and you know, listening to affirmations, things like that. When you meditate, you can be grateful for all of your achievements. For example, for me now, I am pretty confident, and I've built it, right? So, you know, when you, for example, the luck, what is the luck, right? Luck is when preparation meets the opportunity, right? But if you're not prepared, you know, you get the opportunity and you can fake it, your confidence, self-confidence, fake confidence, and then what's gonna happen? Like, yeah, maybe you can get a job, or get the girlfriend at the beginning, but then you're gonna, like, after a little bit you're gonna break up, or you know, you're gonna lose the job very fast. You're gonna see the, like, behind the scenes, or the actual reality, you know, get a reality check really fast, right? Maybe last thing I'm gonna add, for example, now I know that like me getting a master's degree helped me a lot with like just having a very high self-esteem, just because I know a lot of people just having a bachelor's degree would have a little bit like lower self-esteem or self-confidence in their abilities, just because, you know, they compare themselves with other people that are more educated and more driven, more disciplined. So you see, like, it's important to do the actual work. Also, for me, working out 1,000 days nonstop gave me self-confidence as well, just because I know only just less than 1% of the population is capable or have this discipline and dedication to work out every day for 1,000 days. So it gave me a lot of self-esteem and self-confidence as well. So just keep doing things, you know, keep improving, keep learning, keep reading books, and just work on yourself, and you'll gradually have a very high self-confidence, which is also super beneficial. So yeah, let's work on that together. Hopefully you can watch on the other videos as well. And yeah, I hope you will have very high self-esteem and self-confidence with a lot of self-development. Watch my other videos, and I'm sure I'm gonna see you on the next one. See you later. So bye.